New ick unlocked.
Nice.
Treading water. Men treading water.
Nice.
She'll be here, don't worry.
Since Enola Holmes films have kind of grown up alongside the characters, what part of your character's growth were you most excited for fans to see in this third installment?
I was really excited to see the fans' reaction to Enola, learning how to compromise in a relationship.
I like the way that they tackle the relationship between us. It's not all sweetness, and they have a really big rift and they overcome it and they trust each other. That's all good stuff.
I think it definitely matured with us both. For me, I got married, so it's definitely very exciting to be able to do a similar kind of story. I definitely got the wedding blues, so it was nice to be able to kind of plan another wedding.
I'm quite similar to Tewkesbury, I think, in quite a few ways. Would you agree?
Yes, in every way.
Yeah.
In almost every way. Tewkesbury's a simp. He is a total simp. Do you not agree?
He was one of the first simps.
He
Victorian
was.
simp. They didn't do that too much back then.
No, he created it.
You love me too.
You really are an nincompoop.
I think I was excited because we get to see Watson in a very different context to anything we've seen before, in that he's not with Sherlock. He's looking for Sherlock. And so we get to see him relate to different characters in a way we haven't seen before. So there's obviously similarities with that Enola and Watson dynamic, but there's also a key difference in that, he's not just a companion, he's also a mentor. He's an emotional support in a very dark time.
Why? Why are you pursuing me?
It's your brother. Sherlock has been kidnapped.
What was something that you got to do in this film that you didn't in the other two?
Swimming.
Swimming, different country, just being in a completely different place was cool.
How were those swimming scenes?
They were quite fun.
Yeah, they were really fun.
There was one at night that was rather cool. It sounds romantic, actually, looking back at it. You kind of have to stay in the sea. You might take an hour and a half to film the whole scene,
And after
rather
a
than coming
while,
in and out, you might just want to stay in the sea.
yeah, you got to stay in there. And Louis would do this kind of doggy paddling thing to stay afloat.
It's called treading water. But yeah.
Which, by the way, new ick unlocked.
Nice.
Treading water. Men treading water.
Nice.
Oh, it's reached that part of the day.
Being able to go to Malta and experience that culture, and also to recreate Malta for Malta, as opposed to, a lot of things get filmed in Malta, but they use it for different things in different places. It was the first time I think it's ever been used as Malta. All the buildings are still very similar and the same as they were back in the 1800s, so it did literally feel like we were stepping back in time.
Malta. It will be great.
Is there any aspect of Victorian culture that you've brought into your actual life after being in 3 of these films?
I think the vocabulary, when we're on set, naturally you read the script and you start to kind of use words.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, one wouldn't do that. And then I'm like, why am I saying that? So sometimes the vocabulary kind of filters into your real life.
I think that's so true. But I love that. Even though it's not the most direct way to convey a feeling, I quite like the floweriness of the language. I think it's also it helps with humour, and these films are witty, like the way they use language. It's not too strict though.
No.
We're allowed to. It feels modern, but it's helpfully confined.
Speak as we tell you to. What whim led White Whitney to whittle?
Well, it reminds me how great a good suit can look. Find a good suit, good material, very well put together, you can't really lose, yeah. All the stuff that, that I got to wear in the movie, it was all just beautifully done. Our costume designer, Consolata Boyle, she's a real genius. It was always a pleasure to put on those suits.
Was there something an actor/actress did on set in this film that really impressed you?
Oh, every day they impress me. Working with Millie, for example, she is such a powerhouse. She's lived with this character for, most of her life. She knows Enola inside out. And she's also a producer on the movie as well. So Millie is an amazing collaborator. Louis is also an amazing collaborator. And so to be able to come on set with them and be like, okay, let's rehearse the scene, let's play. And they'd be like, well, what if we go over there? And I'd be like, well, let's go over there and let's see. And we can bring the cameras around here, but let's do that. And you know, and we'd really play with it and make it feel quite organic.
Helena was awesome. She has a way of keeping it light and remembering the world we're in, while also being respectful of the fact that we are working, and once you're in a certain headspace, you would rather stay in it for however long, and she just respects pace, I think, and rhythm, and speaks up for herself as well.
Himesh just brought it. I don't know, I love watching him work. I think he's amazing in this film.
There's a scene in a tent that involves, you know, myself, Millie, Louis, Helena, Joe. Like, it was a real ensemble scene in a tent, and it was just so much fun. We were figuring out the mystery, but then like there were lots of funny beats, it was just a really lovely pace to the scene, and I think it was like a real standout when I watched it at the premiere last night. Everyone loved it, so yeah, that scene's a standout for me.
If you needed someone to solve a mystery with you that was on the cast from the movie, who would you choose?
You would be a good detective, but like Enola, very emotional. Whereas Himesh would be more practical. He looks like he could be a detective. He doesn't give much away, I don't think.
I think Helena.
I think it's got to be Eudora Holmes. She offers a lot of practical advice. She's willing to get into scrapes that other people might not get into, because she doesn't really have as much to lose. She's already on the run, you know, and you get to spend more time with Helena Bonham Carter. So how can you lose?
Who from your personal life would you choose?
My husband, because he knows how to rein me in. If I feel like I'm going down a dark alley and I'm like, I'm gonna go and have to find this guy, he's gonna be like, no, let's just wait until morning.